Good evening. My name is Anthony Stevens, principal of Radnor Middle School, and welcome you here tonight for this orientation or open house. We have so many names, but the bottom line is to welcome you here so you can get a snapshot of your experience, your children's experience over the next 3 years. One of the most important things and the most wonderful things that I love about this school is our connection and our relationships with parents. And we at Radnor Middle School, like all of our schools, have great working relationships with our parents, and particularly our PTO. So one of the folks that I asked to come and give you a welcome is our president, Denny. There she is. Come on over. Let's welcome our president.
Thank you, Anthony. Oh, Dr. Stevenson, sorry. Welcome. I'm so thankful to get a brief opportunity to talk to you all tonight. We have a PTO at the middle school, similar if you aren't already at our middle school to your elementary school PTOs. It's just a little bit less active. We have 5 meetings a year, starting at 7 o'clock on September, November, January, March, and May. All are welcome. We also are involved in our 5 school initiatives that include our directory, Spirit Here, and our speaker series that this year was held in January. I'm sure many attended. I'm going to be sending an email out to everyone who's currently in the Radnor schools and have 5th graders that will give more information on our volunteer opportunities. And also a link to an article that Dr. Stevenson sent out. Sorry, I apologize. Sent to us and really just discusses the importance of volunteering while you're a middle school parent, the benefits to your child and yourself. Anyway, so thank you. I hope you have a great night. Oh, and I'm sorry, Lon Rosenblum, who is here. Lon, could you raise your hand for a second? Thank you, over there, is chairing our 5 school Spirit Care initiative. You'll be seeing a lot of information coming in e-minders and your school newsletters on how to purchase Radnor Spirit Gear for your students. So I hope you participate in that. It's launching at the Radnor Elementary School 5K run on the 27th. Yes. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Denny. Just for the record, you can just call me Anthony. I happen to have a doctorate, all right? That's all right. So, beside me to my right is Ms. Nicole Ottaviano. Ms. Nicole Ottaviano will be your child's guidance counselor for the next 3 years. And as we go through, for those of you who are new, how we do it here at the middle school is that we loop for 3 years with your students. Your child is lucky, depending on their behavior, or unlucky. I will be their grade principal for the next 3 years. So you can either warn them or welcome that when you get home tonight. So anyway, so Nicole will also be talking a little bit in a few minutes. And we also have some teachers here who will talk to you tonight, just give you a snapshot of what they do and what they contribute. And at the end, we'll have teacher panel give you an overview. And then there'll be some time for some questions. If you have any questions, a few questions, general questions, specific questions, we can set up a time that we can talk later, individual about your child. So if the general question we do. And then at the end, there's an option, tour the building for parents, new and returning parents who want from some of our student leaders to give you a tour of the program. So here at the middle school concept is different. While the middle school is like all of the other schools, we have a rigorous academic expectations of our students. Also, this is a time where we are trying to help them develop their needs, their academic, their social, emotional, and physical needs. So overall, the view, as you look at our mission statements and you look at what our visions are about, the sum of it is that you'll find over the next 3 years is that we're trying to help them balance Their dependency, as you're going to find in 6th grade, where in elementary school you had your kids, they want you to come in, they're begging you to come, they love you to be there. At 6th grade and 7th grade, a lot of them want you to drop them off, and they don't want to see you until 8th grade recognition ceremonies. And it happens. And, you know, and what I emphasize is how to have that balance. We are not interested in you dropping them off and waiting to 8th grade and then try to pick up for high school. We're interested in creating and cultivating a relationship with parents about how we can support the kids across the board. And as we will see over the next 3 years, that's something we're dedicated through our commitment to the middle school model, our commitment to teaming, and we have teachers who take a genuine interest in your child's individuality and their needs. Okay, as you can see, your class for next year will be our largest class. It will be over 315, currently it's 317, I checked this morning. And it's probably going to range between 315 and 325. It's a large class, not the largest we ever had, but it will be a large class. But with that, having a larger class does not mean that we, again, with the teaming concept, where there's a small group of teachers who meet the needs of the students, we'll still address those particular needs.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm very much looking forward to meeting your child. I'll be their counselor for the next 3 years, as Anthony said. We love the looping concept here in middle school, basically because we see how much they are changing, and we experience all those growing pains right along with you. They come into us, basically elementary students, and leave soon-to-be high school students. We are considered the bridge in the district where we have babies and they leave young adults, essentially. It's quite an amazing transformation. It's very closely modeled to toddlerhood. There's a lot of yelling, screaming. But it's a lot of boundary setting, and new boundary setting, boundaries that you haven't had to create in quite some time. So you'll kind of revisit some of those things, some of those useful parenting techniques that you used way back in toddlerhood. A lot of those same things will be efficient in adolescence. So we encourage parents to come in, to visit, to see the classrooms, and like Anthony said, sometimes that's welcome by your students, sometimes it's not, but we certainly encourage it here. Your child will be coming to visit RMS. Wayne will come in on May 7th, Radner comes on May 8th, and Ethan on May 9th. They'll spend a good bit of a morning here. We'll do kind of an overview of their curriculum, we'll do a question and answer, we'll do a panel just like we're doing here, and then finally your student will tour the building. This isn't their only opportunity for a tour. We will open the building up this summer. Kids can come through. I think we usually designate a day where kids can come and walk their schedule. Schedules will come out typically sometime towards the end of August. Counselors go out to the elementary schools. We do meet with the elementary school counselors. We meet with the teachers. We sit down, we try to gather as much information about your child as possible, their academic needs, any social emotional needs, just so we are as best prepared as we can be for them coming into our building. We have kind of a welcome committee. It's called WEB. Your student will be introduced to 8th graders who, while that may seem a little intimidating, 8th graders, we really rely on them as our leaders in the building. And they're a great resource. They know the building. Sometimes kids will ask them questions that they're not really sure they can ask adults. So they are a really good resource for us. So they'll be spending half of the first day of school with 8th grade leaders. The 8th grade leaders are trained to do activities with them, welcoming activities, icebreakers, things like that. They'll also get useful information about lockers, schedules, and all the logistics as well. And you'll get more information about WEB, stands for Where Everybody Belongs. You'll get that in the mail, probably along with the schedule. The counselors collaborate very closely with the teams. So we run on a 6-day cycle, which if you haven't experienced the cycle days in middle school, your child will pick up on it pretty quickly. I meet with the teams once in a cycle. So we talk about any concerns the teachers have. I am your liaison between teachers and home, essentially. Call me if you would like to schedule a meeting with the group of teachers. We're always welcome to hold meetings whenever you need. And we'll also have other opportunities to meet beyond back to school night. Okay? So if you're feeling like this is new, you're not having as much contact with your teachers as you'd like, and that happens in middle school. Typically, kids don't want you to be as involved. Please feel free to call, ask, we can set something up. Okay. Like Anthony said, he and I loop. We get to know the kids very well. We get to know the families very well. There's a lot of collaboration between he and I. Good cop, bad cop. That's how we operate. Sorry. Your child will have 4 core subjects in their day. The day starts at 8, ends at 3. But within that day, they will have 2 periods of language arts. They'll have math, science, social studies, and 2 specials periods. So the specials are like gym, health, music, art, tech ed, and one of our teachers will be able to explain that in a little bit more depth soon. Periods last anywhere from 45 minutes to 50 minutes, depending on our schedule. Your child will be placed in their language arts and math placement according to a few things. We do have criteria placement to basically put your child in the most appropriate level for them. Your 5th grade teachers will be working with us. We have a series of criteria that I can get into a little bit later on, but that will help place your child in the most appropriate language arts and math class. We do have an integrated program in 6th grade, and you've probably heard a little bit about it. It is Crossroads. We have integrated programs in all 3 grades, and if you're unfamiliar with integrated programs, it really just means taking science, social studies, and language arts, combining it all into one classroom setting with 2 teachers. Our integrated programs are very popular, and we always conduct a lottery for placement in those programs, and Mr. Rendeledge will actually speak more about that in a little bit. So one of the best ways to kind of figure out how your child is doing, we have HACC, Home Access Center. You will be receiving, if you don't have it already, a password and a login specific to your child. You'll be able to go on and look at your child's grades. Teachers are asked to update their grade books every 2 weeks on HACC. So if you have questions, please check out their HACC setup and see what they're missing. If you have questions about that, please feel free to email the teacher, email me. Sometimes it just, it hasn't been updated, so don't panic if you're like, I know he did that report, I know it was due on Tuesday, and there's nothing in the grade book yet. That's okay, just might not have been updated. So just feel free to check in with me if you have any of those logistical questions. Maureen Gangle, our guidance secretary, is amazing. She knows all there is to know about HACC. So if you have any questions about it, how to get your login and password, if you forget it, she'll get you, she'll send it to you very quickly. Teaming. We have We'll probably have 4 teams, including Crossroads. On average, you're going to have about 75 to 85 kids on a team. I'm not really sure how that's all going to play out right now, because we have not started the schedule yet. However, the teams aren't designated in any kind of fashion other than A, B, and C. There are multiple levels of instruction on each team. So if your child comes home and they say, oh, I'm on the A team, I'm on the A team, I'm on the B team, and somebody says, oh, I'm on the C team. It has no bearing on kind of any intellectual levels. These are all heterogeneous groupings. We try to mix the kids up as much as possible, okay? Your teachers meet quite frequently to make sure our curriculum is meeting the needs of all of our kids. They meet in content areas. They also meet in vertical teams across the district. So we're making sure that we're aligned with what the high school's doing and the elementary schools are aligned with what we're doing, just to make sure we're kind of just progressing in the right order here. Sorry, I can't see if I turn the slide or not, but I think it's good. Lastly, if your child has any kind of special needs, we can address that here. We have multiple levels of instruction. If your child has an IEP, a GIEP, we have case managers that will help service your child's needs. We have support classes that run in the morning. We have kind of booster classes for math, writing, reading. We have emotional support classes. We have a lot of support in this building. So if you're questioning if your child's getting enough support, please shoot me an email or call, and we can see what we need to adjust, if we need to add something in, take something away. Please let us know. Okay. I think I'm done that.
So I'm going to ask one of our teachers, Jim Scansella, to come up and talk about teaming. He'll be followed by Tom Rivers, who is going to talk about the integrated programs that we see.
Hi, good evening. Just want to go over a couple things with teaming. My name is Jim Scansella. I'm the 6th grade math teacher. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I just want to go through a little bit with the teaming. Teaming just sort of groups your kids together. As Taviano said earlier, that it really doesn't have any kind of bearing as to specific levels or anything like that. It really doesn't. Currently, we have 2 5-person teams, a 3-person team, and 1 2-person integrated team, but that's probably going to change, I believe, since the numbers are a little bit higher for next year. We don't know exactly what it'll look like, but it is pretty flexible from year to year, but it does center around the same basic concepts, and we try to keep those teams so we're always discussing your kids. We actually meet daily. The teachers will meet, I think can't see it there either, but I think it says that we meet daily. We meet with all teachers who would come into contact with your kids during their school day. Usually, there are 5 core teachers that are on that team. We'll meet every day. We'll be meeting with the counselors. We'll be meeting with special ed and gifted. We'll be meeting with Dr. Stevenson and Ms. Taviano. So I know that it's sometimes hard to get away from having that one homeroom teacher that looks out for your child. Now you really have 5 homeroom teachers who see your kids every day and are looking to do what's best for them. I'm trying to think what are the things that weren't already hit. It's a pretty successful model. It's really, I feel like I'm saying the same word again, but it's really a bridge. It's a bridge between having the homeroom teacher who you go to for everything to having them sort of on their own by the time they get to high school. Everything is in proximity on the teams. Usually there's a pod that is shared with their lockers in that same area. The 5 teachers or 4 teachers or 2 teachers are all in the same area. So they sort of have a home base. They feel comfortable there. We do get to do a lot of team things and grade level activities from time to time, just for sort of team building. And at the beginning of the year, they're coming from 3 different schools, so kind of let them get to know each other. But it's a style of learning that I think you'll really take to coming out of the elementary school. And I think your kids will enjoy it because it's been working pretty well. Do I have to introduce the next person? I'd like to introduce, come to the stage, Mr. Tom Redledge.
Good evening. I'm Tom Redledge. I am one of the 6th grade Crossroads teachers here at the middle school. My co-teacher, Terry Canny, sends his regards. He's sorry he couldn't be here tonight to meet you all as well. I want to tell you a little bit, and I am very much on a time limit here. As per this guy, I will get the hook if I go much beyond a few minutes, so I'll be as quick as I can. But I want to give you a little background about what integrated learning is, first of all. The premise of integrated learning is based around the idea that in the real world, subjects like science, social studies, and language arts are not separated out. People who, historians have to understand science and do reading and writing and vice versa. And we base our curriculum around that idea that there aren't necessarily these boundaries between those subjects. Not to say that we don't do things that look very scientific sometimes and other things that look very historical sometimes and lots of reading and writing, of course, but we do try to integrate the concepts around the curricula as much as possible. So that's the primary difference between integrated learning and the regular programming. That if your child is in an integrated program, he or she will not have a separate science, social studies, or language arts class. But instead will be with the same 2 teachers and the same 40 students for 4 class periods each day, during the same time that the other students would be rotating through those separate classes. One of the other differences with integrated learning is that assessment tends to not be based on tests and quizzes as much as it is on projects, presentations, and writing. We do have a lot of projects, some individual projects, a lot of group projects. There's a lot of cooperation. Students always sit in groups in Crossroads except during PSSAs. And that's something that is a hallmark of our program. So the 4 integrated programs at Radnor Middle School are Crossroads at the 6th grade level. That's the one that you'll be looking at for next year. Watershed is our oldest program. It has been around, I believe it's in its 26th year. And then in 8th grade, there are 2 programs. One is Soundings, which is based around the democratic classroom, and the other is Gateways, which is based on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. The Watershed, I failed to mention, their theme is the Darby Creek Watershed. And in Crossroads, our theme is culture, which fits really well with the science and social studies core subjects. Social studies in 6th grade is geography, and science is earth science. So it does allow us to integrate a lot of material. That's all I really have to say about integrated programs in Crossroads tonight. There's a lot more information out there for you, though, so let me tell you about what that is. First of all, there are 3 dates up there where students will, Terry Canny and I will be heading down to the elementary schools to speak to your 5th grade students about our program. It's about a half-hour, 40-minute presentation where we talk about the program to try to help your child decide if it's a fit for him or her. We encourage you to come to one of those presentations. The elementary schools are aware, the parents are welcome, and you just have to check in and come to one of those presentations if you'd also like to see the presentation. But beyond that, there's a lot of information on the web about our programs. You can go to the Radnor Middle School website. From there, you can access either the integrated department website, which links you to all 4 integrated programs, or you can go directly to the Crossroads website. And there you can learn all about what we do, how we do it. There's a PowerPoint there for you, as well as lots of frequently asked questions. And I think it really does explain what we do well. And beyond that, please feel free to ask us questions. Give us a call, send us an email, and let us know what questions you have. Thank you.
Everybody's so much taller than me. Okay, so one other thing I want to talk about is the emotional development of our sixth graders, and really the emotional support and services we can provide throughout middle school here. Your child will have an advisory teacher. This is like their first point of contact. It's kind of like their homeroom teacher. They come into the building. If they're having a bad day, their advisory teacher is probably the first person who's going to see them. So we like our teachers and advisors to develop a strong relationship with their advisory students. If they're having a really bad day, you know, an advisory teacher can say, Ms. Taviano, can you come on up, or can I send somebody down to see you? It's just that kind of nurturing first point of contact. In addition to that, we have a program here called MS Hope. It's a student assistance program in the building. It's like a higher level of need. If your child is referred to MS Hope, it's not that they're in trouble or anything like that. It just means that your child has been identified by either a staff member, a parent, another child, and really anybody can refer children to MS Hope. If they're sensing that that child has some emotional struggle, academic struggle, attendance issues, there are a whole number of reasons that kids get referred to our MS Hope program. And really all that means is someone else in the building, a trained MS Hope advisor, will meet with your child to offer some more support, see what other things we can put in place. It's really just another safe adult for your child to find in the building. There's always the guidance department. We're always around, and I'll be up on the sixth grade floor a lot. I'll be in the hallways, I'll be at lunch with them every day. And again, like I said, please feel free to call. We do hold a lot of assemblies that center around mental health issues from time to time throughout the year. And so over the span of 3 years, your child will probably be exposed to a good number of mental health issues that teenagers typically struggle with. So we'll let you know when those are coming. They'll be on our website. And there's something that we're pretty passionate here about at the middle school. We have an anti-bullying program. And I think the word bully gets thrown around a lot now. It's kind of overused. We're looking for bullies. These are kids who are engaging in activities that are repeated, mean-spirited behavior. And that can look, in Radnor it looks a lot different than it does in other parts of the country. You know, it's a lot of gossip, a lot of exclusion sometimes. And so we help kids kind of find their way through this. Inevitably it happens, and we are trying to educate our kids to be bystanders that will help others. And really that's the goal of our anti-bullying program, is kids supporting other kids and reaching out to safe adults. So again, if you have any questions about the emotional services and supports here in the school, please feel free to contact me. My email's on the website, and as well along with my extension. Thanks.
Yay.
My technology is not great, but I'm working on it. So one of the things we aside from the core classes we have here, we have a wonderful special organization of teachers that do a lot to do the balance for our school. I'm going to have Ms. Marie McConnell, who is one of our facts teachers, and then followed by Ms. Claudia Silverman, who will talk about World Exploratory. Ms. McConnell.
Good evening. My name is Maureen McConnell, and as mentioned, I am one of the family consumer science teachers here at Radnor Middle School. We're also known as FACS. You will see that on your child's schedule. At first, understanding the specials rotation can be a little bit confusing, and hopefully I will not confuse you more. I'm hoping. As noted, some specials meet at different frequencies throughout the year. Physical education, health, art, and music meet every other day for half of the school year. For example, approximately September through February, end of January, your child may have PE one day, and then the next day they might have art. And then that changes for the rest of the school year. Technology and fabulous family consumer science meet every day for a quarter of the school year. I'm going to ask the core teachers cover your ears for a second. I can tell you that your sixth graders are going to love the specials program. It's something they look forward to coming to every single day. We're a great group, if I might say so myself. And on behalf of the specials, we welcome you and your children to Radnor Middle School. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to contact any of us. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, salvete, bonsoir, and guten Abend. And that represents the 4 languages that we teach at Radnor Middle School. In 6th grade, your child will rotate for 3 weeks each through our 4 world languages of Spanish, French, Latin, and German. For another 3 weeks, your child will be in a program called Cultural Awareness, where our students learn about what does it mean to belong to a culture. And for 3 weeks, they're going to go to our information center, which is our library, where they learn about how to do research, how to find reliable resources. So in 6th grade, World Language Exploratory means for your students that the 3 weeks that they're in each language, they're going to learn a similar kind of a vocabulary in all of the different languages. We go through things like the ABC, numbers, the days of the week, the months, body parts, the colors. They all learn also how to do an introductory conversation in each of the languages. And then when they're done with that half year, this is altogether half year of this specials class, the students will get a grade for altogether what they've been accomplishing for those few weeks. They will then get a form that gets sent home, and you with your child can decide what one language your student should continue with in 7th and 8th grade. In 7th grade, they get one of the languages, one of the 4 languages. They will see us every other day. And in 8th grade, they're going to continue with this one language, and 7th and 8th grade together are level 1 of their world language experience. So we're looking very much forward to having your kids in our classes, and I can agree wholeheartedly with Ms. McConnell. They enjoy very much coming to all the different world language classes, also in addition to the other specials, and they don't get tired of learning the ABCs again and the numbers again in all the different languages. It's interesting, even when we have them for the 4th time in the 4th language, they're still excited that they can finally pick their own name of their choice and try the different sounds in the different languages. So thank you, and we'll look forward to having your students with us next year.
So, also, in addition, one of the things that we do at the middle school is try to make sure that we address issues around physical development. In relationship to this, as was described about the PE piece semester every other day, health class is an important piece to talk to students about well-being, about how, and different topics, important topics related, that at middle school, when kids start having, again, when I first talked about this, at this age, kids are being introduced on a social scale to different things. And one of the things that we're addressing through our piece in the health is about students' well-being. Also, and through that we have something called our ASK program, which addresses issues around drugs, alcohol, things that kids, some teenagers, a reality we have to talk about with kids and be honest with talking to them about the dangers of those things. And at this particular age in middle school is the time we start having those conversations. One of all the class, especially in 6th grade, I know teachers may disagree, but I spend every day with them here. Recess is one of their favorite classes. And lunch, and how we do it's 30 minutes. The difference from elementary and middle school is that there is no such thing as assigned seats, which I know I should do because, especially if you are mothers of daughters, you're going to hear about table switching, not enough seats at the table. God bless you for these 3 years because you're going to deal with it. And if you don't believe me, ask any mom or dad who has, and not only girls, but most of the girls, I'm not trying to, they switch around. Boys get kicked out too. But anyway, it's an issue that we're getting better at, but it's a reality that we have to deal with. It's a part of the socialization. We have these 3 schools, kids are finding friends, then they find new friends, then they find the old friends, then they find new friends. So it changes. And the recess piece, we make them sit for at least 15 minutes to eat. Then, depending on the weather, we let them go outside or in the gym because some of them wouldn't eat because they use that time to have their fun. We also have a lot of extracurricular activities that are done through the school and through the teams. And so one of the things that you need to know about, I'm going to get this down before the night's up. There you go. At the middle school, 6th grade, there are no, and people ask why do we have 6th grade sports? PIAA, which is the sanctioning body for the State Athletic Association, they only sanction 7th through 8th grade for competitive sports. So in 7th, 8th grade, here's a list of the type of teams that we have. In 6th grade, we don't have teams. What do we have? We have intramurals and clubs. And here's a list of clubs. And I won't list all of them, but one of the things about clubs that I'm proud of about clubs and relationship about clubs is that it can change every year. So when you look up here one year, there's clubs up, it's student generated, and I never turn down clubs. The only requirement about clubs in 6th grade is that you have to have a sponsor. And we've been very fortunate to have numerous teachers who have sponsored, but we've also had parents who have sponsored this year some of the clubs. We have a parent who runs a math council club, and we have a parent who runs an animation club. And both of those are popular clubs. The ukulele club is a very interesting one, as you can see. But kids show up, so hey, whatever floats your boat. But it's a great club. So, the code of conduct. So, and you're going to get a student handbook, and we'll talk about it in a minute. Let me just be very clear about the middle school. We don't have a lot of issues in relationship to problems around, but we address it right away. And I don't mean to sound like that mean principal, but because I'm not. I'm actually pretty laid back until something goes wrong. And one of the things that we're pretty adamant about is setting a tone here at the middle school where when a student walks in this building, they feel that they belong like every other student. If there's a problem that your kid is having and coming home upset about something, I need to know. I don't need to know in June because it's not helpful for anyone. I don't need to know 3 months ago or 3 months later. I need to know, and because we address it in a way as a team. Parent, student, Mr. Taviano, the teachers, because we are very adamant that when you walk in this school, it is the greatest middle school in Radnor because it's the only one. But beside that, it's a place where we want folks to really feel that your kid is going to focus on academics, they're going to deal with the struggles of their social and emotional things, and we're not going to put up with this other added unnecessary stuff. So we take it very serious about maintaining that culture of civility and respect across the board. So we do that. And part of that is, how we do that is through our student, and you'll find in our student handbook, we have the guidelines that you and your student will review at the beginning of the year. Other things that your student will get at the beginning of the year is assignment book. We make sure that they are, we want kids to have assignment books, keep up with their work, take it home. Those who don't want to do their work, they have a trick, they lose it. So make sure that you keep up with it. You'll hear more about assignment books in the beginning of the year, but it's an opportunity for them to keep up the work they need to do, their assignments. But as someone said, you can also check on Hack. And if a student is getting behind, teachers will contact you, but you should also feel free to contact us when you have concerns about academics. All students will have locks and lockers. We assign locks and lockers at the beginning of the year. Those locks follow them all the way through high school. Gym shirts are something that they get. Lunch, debit accounts. If you have lunch debit accounts already at elementary, that can transfer over at middle school. And we'll also, in the beginning of the year, send you out the bus information as well. So you met Denny talking about PTO meetings. Here are other resources that we have. Our goal here at the middle school is to communicate. We like to communicate a lot to make sure that parents are aware of what's going on. If there's ever a time where there's confusion, a misinterpretation, or you don't feel that you're getting the information you need, please make sure you contact me because I want folks to, again, the only way we can be successful for the next 3 years is that we are on the same page and that we are aligned with each other. So the next thing that I would like to do is now invite a few of our teachers up who are going to just give a general overview and then take some questions from the parents. And then we will follow that with a tour from students who are anxiously waiting in the hallways. All right? So teachers, will you come up? Those of you who are going to come up. Yes, Ms. Schober. Are y'all coming up?
Hi, my name is Karen Schulberg. I'm a special education teacher here at Radnor Middle School, and I also am a gifted team leader for the 8th grade.
Sorry, Jen Campus. I'm currently on Team A as the 6th grade accelerated language arts teacher.
I'm Tom Redelich, again, and the Crossroads teacher, one of the Crossroads teachers in 6th grade.
Jim Scansell, I teach 6th grade math, honors math, and accelerated math.
Gail Furman, I teach computer applications basically, which is keyboarding, Microsoft Office applications, photo story, publisher, and how to type with the keys covered.
My teacher's very shy. Or because I run such a tight ship, I don't really let them talk that much. So what we're going to do instead, I'm going to put them on the spot since they don't want to talk, is this is a chance for parents to ask questions, and that either they'll be directed at me, or we're going to let the teacher answer. So we're going to take questions. Yes? Oh, okay, apparently she's first.
think the first part is trying to get to know the student, how they learn, what are their strengths and weaknesses, collaborating with parents and whatever support services they may have available, as well as counselor, and then to modify assignments here and there as we feel necessary to try to encourage them demonstrating their true ability and lessen the anxiety, and then to continue to increase the rigor as they become more and more comfortable with the curriculum.
What I was going to say. I think we try to differentiate according to the child's needs. If they're high achieving, have anxiety, then we'll differentiate, compare, and we'll look at the student individually and go from there. And we meet as a team, and we'll meet as a team until we get the best potential out of the student. So.
And actually, Anthony, this is for you probably. Great PowerPoint. Is this going to be on the website?
Yes, sir. We're going to put it on the website. We also recorded this program, so it's also going to put that on the program on the website. Yes, sir. And then I'll get to
let's talk about homework a little bit. Okay. I've got one student in the district who gets a ton of homework in elementary school. I've got another student, and we were talking with Anthony about this, who's going to transfer in from the school in Rose Valley, who gets essentially no homework other than project assignments, I guess. Both of my kids do very well, but I can see the potential for some issues with my student who doesn't get it, is not accustomed to having quite as much homework, yet does fabulous things. Can somebody tell me what I can expect?
You sat on the end.
All right, so we'll take it from two different sides. I'll give one, and then if somebody else would like to jump in. I think that, first of all, we are a team-based group, and we meet and collaborate with science, social studies, math, language arts, so that we're having an appropriate radar of homework that's being passed out to the students. In addition to that, depending on their particular level of course, you're going to expect more independent homework at home, just depending on the level that they are placed into.
That's okay. I feel like that's an easy way out to say that. That's what I was going to say. But I can tell you from experience that most teachers here have been teaching 6th grade for quite a long time. We have a pretty good feel for what's appropriate. We've talked with enough parents and met with enough families to know what's too much and what's not enough. So we're constantly looking, constantly tweaking it, like Ms. Campbell said. We're meeting as teams to figure out what's an appropriate balance. So as the year goes on, it changes from time to time, but overall we have a pretty good idea of what's appropriate. Usually, I don't know what the exact number is officially. It's supposed to be...
We're also currently forming a homework committee to work on what is an appropriate balance of homework for each grade level. So I think we'll have some more definitive numbers next year.
The other thing I'd like to say about that is that one amount of homework for one child is much more for another or much less for yet another. So it's hard to gauge that as teachers, and it depends to a certain degree on your child's pacing with work. And so when one gives homework, we sort of have an idea of how long we expect it to take. And I think we all agree that we hope that your child would never have more than about 60 minutes of homework per night. But for some kids, it will take longer. And we need to be brought into that loop because we're not at home with you seeing how long it takes and what kinds of challenges your child faces with that homework. So we always encourage you to let us know. That's something that can be brought to the team, and we can discuss what's going on. If your child is taking 2-3 times as much time doing the homework as he or she should, we as a team need to know about that. And we will try to work with your child to figure out some solutions to that problem.
In addition to that, if they're struggling with homework, not being able to do it on their own, or you're not able to help or whatever, 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have a homework club from 3 to 4 at school, where teachers will help the students with their homework. They have access to the computers, the library. You just have to provide your own transportation home, but they can get additional help here at school.
Also during advisory at the beginning of the day, they have depending on what their schedule looks like. They usually have some time when they can meet with teachers and see teachers if they need help with their assignments. There's time at the end of the day, SOS at the end of the day in our current schedule. It's about 20 minutes where they can meet with a teacher if they're having trouble with concepts and having trouble with certain skill that the teacher can help with. So that sort of helps a bit with longer assignments.
Yes, sir. Does the Crossroads program suit a certain kind of student, or do you have any guidance as to determining whether or not that's for your child or not?
It's a hard question to answer briefly, and I think what I would say about that is your child has to be comfortable with the idea of working cooperatively with other students. I think if you have a child who really dislikes that, Crossroads is going to be really hard for him or her. If the child is overly motivated by grades only, and the only reason he or she ever does any work is because of grades, then Crossroads would be a challenge. Students who are comfortable with some ambiguity around work at times, not necessarily earlier in the year, but as the year progresses, we work toward that, where we give an assignment with some resources and encourage students to explore answers on their own and then present their findings to us. So students who are comfortable with that level of independence, or at least working toward that throughout the school year, I think those are helpful ideas. But we like to say that any child can be successful in the integrated Crossroads or any of the integrated programs, as long as he or she is like any other, like in any other class or any other programming, is willing to take it seriously and work hard during the time that he or she is there.
Way back there. Yes, you.
How do you incorporate band and/or orchestra into the regular school day, or is that done before hours?
So band will be, for next year, band orchestra will be doing advisory time, 8:30, 8 something, 8:10. By the time they get started, to about 8:35, and then there are lessons that are pull-out lessons during the specials periods. All right. There was somebody right below you who had a question.
I just had a question about the teams. Do they stay on the same team for all 3 years?
Oh, absolutely not. Nobody can stay in that for 3 years. No, we start all over. We slash and burn and start all over. So. Right. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. My slide said or showed that math and language arts are level. Are science and social studies level as well? And if so, what is the criteria?
So for 6th grade, no. 7th, we have an accelerated program that we're still trying to figure out, but it's there in 7th and 8th grade. I made the decision with the support and feedback from teachers is that for 6th grade, we cluster kids based on the needs of those, for language arts and math, but for science and social studies, no ma'am, they're not. All right. 6th grade, I think 6th grade is an important time to figure out how to open that locker. And I don't mean to say that in the sense that we don't meet kids who have those needs. Absolutely not. But I think that 6th grade is an important time to try to balance that. So, and we have, as you will find, we have excellent teachers in 6th grade who will address those particular needs for you. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. There's no money involved in any of the clubs. We do have a partnership with the Wayne Arts Center that costs $50 if the kid signs up for that. But all clubs are free. Yes, ma'am.
For language arts and math, right now in middle school, they can kind of fluctuate with their math placement.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that an option as they move to middle school in 6th grade, or are they, when they get there, based on their numbers?
So in math, I'll say it, Jim. I'll take it. And if I get it wrong, you can step in. All right. So they can move up and down. If a kid is demonstrating that if they're placed in a certain math class and they demonstrate over time they can be moved up, yes. So they're not locked in. But the one thing I want to emphasize about we push back when as our teachers see that a child, we don't feel that they should move up, and our teachers are pretty good about it, because what it does is we don't want them to be put in the wrong placement, and then the next year they have more difficulty. So we want to make sure that we'll have several conversations, we'll meet with you endlessly about it to have those discussions, but we want to make sure that we put them in the right place. You want to add? I'm good. We have about two more before we have to move on to, at the middle school, after our meeting's over an hour, my ADD kicks in, we have to move on. So we take, any more questions? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So I believe you got a letter from Dr. Stevenson 3 or 4 weeks ago about some changes that are taking place in the integrated lottery over the coming, this year, and I think Dr. Stevenson does want to address that.
So I have two Obamacares, my Obamacares. My first one is I moved the musical from being all 8th grade to all school. All right, so first year was okay, we'll see. So your kids, when they come in, if they want to be in the musical, they can be in the musical starting 6th grade. For integrated program, our integrated programs are popular programs, 40 kids get in. Some folks have had kids who are extremely lucky. They got in all 3 years. So what I said was, if it's so popular, and then why don't we increase the opportunities for all students, increase the students to have the opportunity to experience an integrated program. So what I said was, if you decide you want to put in the lottery for 6th grade and you get in, not saying you won't get in 7th and 8th, but you go at the bottom of the line behind folks in 7th grade when they want to go to Watershed, then those kids who didn't have a chance in 6th grade have a chance to go in 7th grade, and then the same thing with 8th grade. That doesn't mean that you're going to get in 7th grade. And if you don't go in 6th grade, it doesn't mean that you get to go in 7th grade, but it increases your chances. It's to increase the opportunities that at the end, and now I don't have no problem with those folks who got in all 3. They had great experience, I think it's great, but I think it was an opportunity to increase the opportunities for kids to do it across the board. And where my source of it was, from kids. Kids across the board was like, I want to have a chance, and so from the mouth of babes, that's where I listen. So that's where it is. Will it work? I think so. But, we'll see in a year. All right. Last question. You're it.
Talk about the size of the class. I know you mentioned this is one of the larger size classes coming in. How will that be broken up?
So the district's goal is to have class sizes averaging between 20 and 22. Now, having said that, like everything else, when it becomes, one of the things I won't do is I won't cut off kids, like someone that asks about math. So if kids qualify for a certain math class or certain needs for it, and there's 22 seat, average 22, and we need to put 25 and 26 in there, well, I'm not going to cut off the class because we need to put the kid in there. So there may be some classes that may be a little larger, but our goal is the average class size is anywhere between, depending on the grade size, based on this size, would be about 20 to 22. All right? So I will answer any individual questions later on, but we want to get, we have one more thing for you. Some of you saw the district happy video. Let me just say for the record, it started at the middle school. And you're about to see where it started at the middle school. Like most things at the middle school, in this district, this is where this is the brain trust, all right? So you're about to, first of all, give a round of applause to teachers as they do. We have some other teachers who are here. If you would stand by other teachers who came tonight, who came to support us. And if we can give another round of applause for Ms. Ottaviano, who a lot of y'all are going to be best friends with. And we'll, after we watch the happy video, and Lon, don't laugh, we'll talk about the tours. Those of you going to stay for the tour. So the next time you see that other one, this is where it starts. All right. So the one thing that about this video is that one of the things, if you don't walk away with anything else, over the next 3 years, we hope that you'll remember this song, because that's how we want you to at least be smiling after you leave at the 8th grade. Folks, everybody who can't stay, thank you for coming. Have a great night. I'll be around to answer any questions. Thank you.